What is up, guys? Adam here, and we have another treat for you today on the Friday session. This conversation is extremely wide-ranging. We dove into artificial intelligence and how we're implementing it in our business. But not only that, we talked about some real-world use cases that we've encountered over the last week. I talk about my own experience in generating a logo for our new business that we're about to launch and how I split tested hiring an actual designer and then just using AI to generate it and then got it independently tested, and I give you the results of that. We talk about the impacts of AI in industries such as interior design, how it's transforming our time in inboxes now, and a whole bunch more. We then talk about a recent deal that Eric has been able to put together. When I say a deal, he recently won a contract to be the exclusive project managers for the only fully completed high-rise building on the Gold Coast, built by one of Australia's most successful business people, a rich lister here in Australia. Eric talks about building relationships with quality people like that, doing the right thing over time, and how that pays dividends over the long haul. And all of us on the panel share real stories of how we've seen people just deliver value so that their life becomes effortless and bountiful, not by manipulation, not by marketing, but by actually delivering real world value. We do a bit of a deep dive into the property marketing space and what's happening with sunset clauses and people being screwed over or missing out on contracts that they've actually signed. And then we also talk about doing business in Taiwan versus doing business in China with James's business. And then we close out talking about our upcoming summit in October, what we've got planned, how you can be notified first to get tickets, and so much more. You're going to love this pod. If you do love it, make sure right now, drop a comment. Let us know that you're here. Let us know what you think of the pod generally. And most importantly, hit that subscribe button so we can get better guests over time. I hope you enjoy the pod. I'll see you on the other side. Hey there. Here's a fun but sad fact for us. Most people who love our content are still not subscribed to the channel. Now, here's the deal that I will make with you. If you can find it in your heart to click on the little subscribe button below, I promise you that we will get better and better guests on this show so that we can interview them for you to give you better and deeper insights from people that have really done some crazy good stuff. And I promise you that we'll be working harder than ever to make this show even better for you. So that's the deal. If you click on that little subscribe button, hit the notifications bell as well, we would be deeply grateful and we'll make a better show for you going forward. I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. What is up, everybody? Welcome to what is promising to be yet another hilarious Friday catch up between the boys. We have been laughing our asses off camera leading into this one. The vibe is high, and I'm sure that we are in for a lot of fun and laughter. We are joined once again by the one and only Wayne Butcher. How are you, Wayno?
Very good, very good. It's great to be back.
Nice to have you back on the pod.
Thank you.
Yeah, we enjoyed having you for the first one, and I'm sure we'll see you many more times. Thanks for stepping in again while Mark's away.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and I'll look forward to this conversation.
Be awesome.
Yeah.
James, what's up? Back from Sydney again. You've been up and down like a yo-yo, mate.
Yeah, I have indeed. It was the brother's 50th, which was pretty calm and not like it would have been if it was his 40th, to put it that way. So
really?
An early night, home, tucked up in bed by about 9:30, which is good. Good to have Wayne here again. Judged on the comments from last week, he's like my human Valium. He just slows me down that little bit. So hopefully we can...
The verbal handbrake.
What does that?
Yes, that is. It is kind of like Wayne's very paused and considered, and James is not like a runaway train down a hillside. What about you, Eric? What's going on, buddy? What's going on?
Thanks,
I'm
Adam.
good. I'm good. I'm a little bit under the weather today, but other than that, I might sound a little nasally.
No, that's all right.
But excited to be here.
So many people crook at the moment, so many people have got round 2 or 3 of the Rona, but here we are. So guys, today I want to thank our sponsors, as always, of the podcast, earlybird.ai, our friends down at Southport, just down the road from us. For those of you who still don't know what Earlybird is, or if this is your first time tuning into the pod, Earlybird AI is a artificial intelligence services company, I guess is the best way to explain it. If you are in business, if you have a website, if you're looking to make more money, save money, make more sales, grow your business, but you don't know where to start with AI, these guys will help you out. They do a free consultation. They will basically look at your business, see what needs you have, and then give you a free proposal, no obligation. It's an awesome service. Go check them out at earlybird.ai. They've been smashing it. Like the clients that have come back to us and said, oh my God, those guys are so smart and so helpful. They basically take all the mystery out of it, right? And just connect you with it and get you going, because it is such a big mega trend. It is transforming businesses. Like not a week goes by where something hasn't changed. And with that being said, I might kick off this Friday recap with a quick little story that I heard this week, which was one of my business partners in the new project that we're building right now. His name's Ash. He's based out in Perth. This is a great story. And we are building out our tech stacks and our, putting together the plumbing, so to speak, for the business. And there's one piece of software that we're looking to use. And he was like ringing me going, dude, have you used artificial intelligence in like any customer support that you've gotten recently? And I actually had just unsubscribed from a SaaS company called MailChimp. They basically charged my card. You know when they do that and you forgot that you were subscribed, and then a year later you're like, fuck, I should have like cancelled that. So I went to their website and it was an AI that helped me. And like within 30 seconds, just boom, 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 please put in your email, your account number, boom, 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 what's the problem? Okay, I can see that we charged your card. How can I help? Oh, I didn't want it. I want to get a refund. Yep, no problem. That's all processed, and you'll have it in 7 days with no phone call, no email support ticket waiting. Ash, for this new company that we're looking at installing this piece of software, he was on with the tech support, which was the AI bot, right, that was helping him, and then he got stuck, and then he got transferred to a human tech support waiting in the chat, finally got to the front of the queue. And Ash said it wasn't until that moment that I realised how inefficient dealing with humans is in that context. And he ended up asking the human support agent if he could get transferred back to the bot because the bot was more helpful, more accurate and faster. And he said, oh my God, it really dawned on me just how powerful this is when you can get these bots that you can train and deep learn in your company and know it better than you. So it is a fun way to kick off the pod because it ties into our sponsors, Early Bird AI, but actually it really is being embedded now and making such a huge difference.
And not only that, it's like you look at the dollar per output sort of metric there. It's like, I don't know whether they have $4 or $5 grand to get built, who knows, circa that, something like that. And if you get the data from the trading data, and if you don't, it'll go and create its own trading data. That's $5 or $6 grand. That's it. Forever.
Yes.
Forever. And it's not 60 grand a year plus this plus that for ongoing.
And it's 24/7. It's
Totally.
actually more efficient, faster, 24/7. Doesn't take. It's just incredible. We're setting it up right now. Big part of this new ecom product that we're launching, which has a technical component to it, is training the AI bot that we're going to be running on the site. And we are super enthusiastic about its ability to make sales, make offers, and answer questions. We've been testing it, and I'm just sitting there going, wow.
Yeah, and not only that, like if you've got a conventional business like what I've got, where you do have a human intervention in the sales process by a salesperson. At the moment, we've got appointment setters. Is that the appointment setters don't work on Friday and Saturday? On Saturday and Sunday. So, if you want that speed to lead we spoke about last week, it's like that's probably the better option. Yeah. So we're looking at down that avenue as well.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it?
So instead of coming on a Monday morning and having X amount of leads, you come and you've got X amount of appointments booked. Yes. Straight out of the gate.
And you've got all the automated reminders and all the stuff going on.
Exactly.
And direct, if you set it up correctly, to their phone rather than email, which nobody's opening email. Like a great open rate for email these days is like 20%. That's amazing. These are like 100% open rate through WhatsApp, which is incredible.
Yeah.
When you go to like Asia, like has anybody been to Bali recently? I mean, everything in Bali is WhatsApp. Like literally everything. Restaurant bookings, massage, fingernails, whatever you want to get done, haircut. It's all WhatsApp bookings.
Same thing in Italy. I mean, in Europe. They're using WhatsApp for everything now.
Yeah. You just engage with somebody rather than a website or anything else.
People keep talking about AI. It's like, oh, it's the future. It's the future. It's the now.
Yeah.
It's not the future. Yeah. The future it's just going to get better and better. And the way I look at it is, if you're not looking at least at learning more about AI and how you can implement it in your business, you're doing an injustice to yourself and your business.
I mean, I said to you guys, I think it was yesterday, that completely made AI like an intro or a what do they call them? Preview of a movie of The Simpsons, but done in
I saw that
in the non-animated version, but the more human realistic looking version, and it was bonkers. And it was like the whole script, the whole thing was done with AI.
They basically created the Simpsons house, the Simpsons characters, but created a fully rendered version of who it would be. And it was, I would love to actually see.
Totally, and
see
if
that.
they did a full movie on that, they would just. I sent
Yeah.
it to quite a few people, and we're just blown away. And look, I think I said to you guys that we're just at the very, very start of this AI generation for that use case as well, being entertainment.
I don't know if you guys saw this week on my socials, I put up a post of Reid Hoffman. So Reid Hoffman is a billionaire out of Silicon Valley. Did you see
saw
Wayne?
that. Amazing.
Yeah, so Reid basically created an AI clone of himself using a video AI tool, but then the AI read all of his books, watched all of his lectures, and he interviewed his own video AI, and it was indiscernible almost, except for one or two sentences where you could pick up just the slight intonation in the way, but you couldn't tell from the movement of the mouth. Nothing. It was absolutely insane watching this and him asking it questions about his past work, his papers and everything, and it was him answering it. It was just bananas.
And you sent me one this week about the interior design AI. So basically, takes an empty room, right, whether it's a kitchen or a living room or a bedroom, and you tell the AI what you want in it, what you want it to look like. I want a white wall here, a black wall here. I want carpet, this type of sofa. The rest of it, click, and it literally just creates renders of the room. So like you look at that and you're going, I'm an interior designer. I've got an interior design business. Like how many years is it going to take before that thing outdoes?
You could basically see the room fully rendered.
Unbelievable.
Before you buy a single thing. Or you can say, I want a minimalist, Japanese influenced, and it does all the storage ideas, pocket doors, folding doors, it's insane. And it does it for free like that.
And to the point where it'd go out now and go, great, and then it'd go profile, where can I find these products, put the prices together, the whole shebang. So there's not even have to go on hunting around whatever interior design or fabric company or whatever, just like, there's the product, there's the price.
And it's
credit card.
It's fast, right? We're dealing with an interior designer now for one of our projects. And God bless her, she's amazing, amazing company. But it takes time, right? There's only a certain amount of projects that she can take on at once. When you're doing AI, right, and you're using these softwares, it's instant. So there isn't a 1 week turnaround or a 2 week turnaround. It's literally same day, and then you can adjust as you need to.
Eric, a moment ago you said something which I think would have pricked people's ears up. You said, if you're not exploring, researching and studying AI right now, you're doing yourself a massive disservice. And I think everyone's probably at the point where they're nervous enough about it that they would totally agree with you. So if your friend came to you, your friend, if your friend came to you and said
The one and only.
So there shouldn't be too much head scratching going on.
The only one left on the payroll.
So if he came to you and said, Eric, I heard you, you're right, I need to, where would you point them? If you don't know the answer, I've got a couple, but I'd love to hear what you're doing or what people should be doing to actually get their heads around this.
YouTube. Yeah. I mean, I'm watching a fair few YouTube videos, and I'm learning a lot, to be honest with you, from the boys at Early Bird.
Yeah.
Right. So we go in there every couple of weeks. They're showing us what they're doing and some of the projects that they're working on. And we know a lot of the projects that they are working on in depth. And some of them are businesses I'm involved in. But again, I've never been the big tech guy myself. Right. I adopted quite slowly, probably compared to some of you guys on the panel. But with AI, it's slapping me in the face, like it's literally it's there in front of me all the time, and I'm looking at different options from the real estate side.
Sorry,
James, I apologise.
Okay.
James is
Yeah.
Keep talking.
Yeah, right.
You were talking about something being in front of your face
Consistently
all the time. Carry on.
But the reality is, you have to embrace it.
You have to embrace it. Did you get that, Wayne?
Oh,
You have to embrace it.
Here are three things I reckon. I think they're all really good. So for people out there, first stop, Early Bird AI. First stop. Like those guys, and they'll tell you themselves, but it's real. They are leading edge thinking in AI. And I'm saying that partly because I know Chris really well, and we just have very candid conversations. He's like, mate, I'm all over this. So Early Bird AI. But then if people aren't connecting there, they can go to YouTube and they can look for a guy called Matt Wolfe, Wolfe. he is just the most enthusiastic researcher out there on AI, and he puts together really digestible content about it, specifically AI, very focused. And then finally, go to futuretools.io, and it's basically a smorgasbord of all the tools that you can use AI, that can help you to use AI. And once you get to Future Tools, you will never not use AI, because you'll just see one thing and you go, I cannot believe I didn't know about this before. So they're my 3 tips for people who just, they're just breaking ground in AI.
There's one more there. It's called, there's an AI for that. And it's got tens of thousands of different AIs, full searchable in there. That's a hell of a resource as well.
Might have been better.
Well, mate, probably same but different. Yeah. The amount of communities now that are pulling their resources, I suppose, and joining these, like a Discord channel or whatever you will.
Right.
But that was one on their database, and the stuff that I said, they basically send a daily newsletter out, and like it becomes overwhelming. It's like, what do I really need for my business? But it's also good just to have a quick flick and go, okay, that's a wild use case. Let's have a little look down the rabbit hole there. But plenty of.
Once you start looking at these sites, guys, you'll be welcomed into the echo chamber, and you won't be able to get away from it. The good thing, not to plug Early Bird too hard here, but the good thing about Early Bird is that that's what they do. They suck in all this information, and then you can just come along and they go, right, based on your particular use case, you need A, B, C, and D, and we can do it for you, and it's done. Because most business people are so busy just trying to run their businesses. But Early Bird is spelt with an I instead of a Y, in case you Google it.
They're busy, and it's quite overwhelming, because where do you start?
Yeah.
Right. You've got 100 different AIs that you can plug into your business. You're like, which one do I do? Like,
I love each one's got a learning time and integration time.
I love the email one, where they're you get, because everyone's getting smashed with emails, amazing. Right? And they draft emails. So you'll get an email, and literally within 30 to 60 seconds, it creates a reply, but it sits in drafts. So that way you can review it first. So say you just got 5 emails in the last hour, you'll have 5 drafts to have a look at that then you can use and tweak, humanize, whatever you want to do, and send it off.
But it's read all your emails, so it knows how you write. Like, for example, my emails are notoriously short generally, except for when I'm doing something very important, but I try to keep them short. And I put 1 sentence per line, so it's not overwhelming. And it reads your email, and it drafts emails how you write emails. And so for companies, like one company that they implemented a solution for, they get hundreds of emails a week, and now all of those replies are written, sorted, and done. It's just saved in a massive amount of time and tens of thousands of dollars in staff time just to manage the inbox.
Yes, and it's the efficiency and the competitive advantage. Like, imagine if you're the only one doing that, right, in your industry, and no one's doing it, and the amount of emails that you can pump out, especially
what's the tool that you're referring to?
I don't know the tool.
I don't know the tool. They're building it.
They built it. And I think they built it. I'm not sure.
Right.
But what I do think about is, like, what could you, do with that employee in terms of growing the business now, because you don't have that bottleneck of email, and now you redeploy that employee to marketing, outreach, customer service, going after testimonials from your clients. Like, what else could you do with that employee's time that is higher value than drafting the same email that they've responded to in one form or another 50 times before? So pretty exciting. And this morning, another little test I did with James at a coffee shop before we got started here today. We're doing a new brand at the moment, as you guys, brand new product, the one I just mentioned. And I said to James, first impressions, what do you think? And I've got in my phone here a PDF document I hired, just because I'm a bit old school still. I'm like, no, I'm going to give the graphic designers an opportunity. And I hired a graphic designer, paid them lots of money, waited. It took me about a week, just back and forward bullshit of negotiating what we were going to do and what the scope of works was, and filling out a manual questionnaire, and, oh, you didn't give me enough detail. And honestly, I got to the point where I almost went, you know what? You're just too hard. You're just too hard. I got that close. I finally managed to get to the point of getting it done. Got the PDFs last night of their logos. I got three or four logos done.
You saw this morning.
And then the first logo I got using AI on Canva for $10. I said to James,
did you tell James which one?
No, I said to James, first impressions, which one do you like?
Instantly, it's like
instantly the Canva,
no-brainer, right?
The Canva AI one.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I waited 2 weeks, and paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars for these logos, and it didn't come close to the one that
Plus
we
all the back and forth, as you said.
plus all the back and forth and the
time.
bullshit. So it's fun. I mean, Early Bird's logo is ChatGPT.
How good is the logo looking now?
The new one for our new brand.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And it's a Canva AI. And it's just like, and it cost $10, and I literally did it in 20 minutes. What have you been up to, Eric? What's been happening in your week?
We've, in the real estate business, we have the launch party this Friday night for that new development called Remy. That's been probably about 8 months of work in the making. My business partner, Julian's been doing a shit ton of work on that.
I saw you on the news the other night.
Yeah, on the news. So big marketing campaign coming up. We've got some pretty interesting people coming from Sydney as well, and there's going to be a lot of high net worths there. So it's going to be a fun night. So this week's been a lot of pressure, getting everything right, making sure that the CRM is linking to realestate.com and domain and Facebook ads and all these types of things. So it's a unique offering. I think I mentioned it last week, but basically the only fully completed project on the Gold Coast that they've decided to fully complete first to then sell. And a lot of the agents have been waiting for this that work with us. So that's
It's interesting.
very,
I think
very
to
exciting.
contextualise this for people who don't know, Eric, about your business, Eric has a business called Sutherland Property Group. So it's a property marketing. They sell products that are usually off the plan, right?
Yep.
But there's a high net worth Australian called Ian Malouf,
Yes.
right, who made his fortune from bingo
Yep.
and probably a few other things. And they've built, is it one tower?
Yeah, one tower. So they bought another block of land that they're developing at the moment in DA phase.
But they bought and built.
But they bought.
What's the end realised
they-
value of the whole building?
It's in the hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the hundreds of
And so
millions.
you guys are the marketing agents.
Yeah,
and
so
you're
we're
going
the
to sell the whole thing.
exclusive. Yeah, we're the exclusive marketing agent. It's
a big get.
Yeah, it's a big get. Yeah, it's been a lot of work. But all relationship.
Yeah.
All relationship.
How did the relationship come about? Like, how did you guys
So-
end up in business with Ian, who's hugely
Yeah. So
successful?
one of the agents that we have a really good relationship, good friend of ours, has a relationship with the CEO of Ian's family's office, and that's where the lead came from, and that's where the relationship started.
He's an interesting cat, hey? Like, he owns, when I was in Monaco, I was there for the last 2 years for the race, and there's these massive super yachts,
Massive.
like parked right up on the track with a Ahoy Club, and they've got like pumping parties
Yeah.
and the hot guys and girls on the back. And that's Ahoy Club is owned by Ian as one
Yeah.
of his businesses. So the Aussie flag with the
Yeah.
Aussie kangaroo in the middle of Monaco, F1 weekend, and he's there every year.
That yacht, it's called Coral Ocean, and it's 73 meters. It's 200 and something.
And they've got a
foot.
bunch of those.
Yeah, massive. So Ahoy Club basically is Airbnb, the Airbnb for high-end luxury yachts. They buy, they sell, and they lease out. And some of these yachts you can rent for a week, and it's $1 million for the rental, plus drinks, plus food, plus tip. But they're fully fitted out. You can take multiple families and.
Talking to that building, though, it's a super smart play, but you very committed in what you believe the outcome to be. It's when you can lock in your construction costs 2 years ago, but you don't miss out on the upswing in the property prices over the 2 years. So if it's been a 20% upswing in 2 years, you've put 20% straight to the bottom line.
They're going to do really well out of it. But the key is, like the old saying is, cash is king.
Yeah.
Majority of people can't do that. Majority of people need to sell off the plan, because how it works is you've got this idea, you buy this block, you want to build this building, you got to go to the bank for finance. Right? And we're not talking about financing $1 million. We're talking about financing a build of $50 million. So what they want is debt coverage. The banks want debt coverage. How do they get that debt coverage? They get them from pre-sales. And what a pre-sale is, generically, is you buy a unit for $1.5 million or $2 million. You got to pay a 10% deposit. So you got to pay $150,000 on the 1.5, $200,000 on the $2 million unit. They count that as a pre-sale. Then you have to have X amount of pre-sales for debt coverage. Once you hit that mark, they will fund you. You build it. The issue with that, right, and what's happened during COVID is we've had developers buy a block of land, get the sales through us, and we're selling it in real time. So if we're selling it off the plan and you're selling it off the plan in 2021, as an example, right, you're selling it a 2-bed on Chevron Island for 600, 650, 600,000, 650,000. Good money back then. Takes you a year to get the pre-sales. Next thing you know, you're building it for 2 years. Construction costs have increased. You've sold it here. Your margin gets squeezed. We're doing resales. A coaching client of ours, as an example, bought a property and for 750, and we sold it for 1.2 million at settlement. You know, like the developer does not make that margin. The developer would be lucky to make anything on that. You know, yet the buyer made
That's
close
happened
to
so much on the
$500,000, right? And this is
It's happened a
that
lot in
unique
Burley.
that unique period of time. But what's interesting, and the beauty of selling a building that's fully finished like this, is there's less risk for the buyer. The buyer needs to have the cash or the funding now because it's 30, 60, 90-day settlement, as an example. Whereas if you're buying something that's not finished in 3 years, you put your 150 grand down and you just wait and you worry about, you know, servicing that loan then. So
And you don't know what you're going to get.
correct. And what's been happening, sorry, just so I can finish off,
yeah.
what's been happening is some developers, right, are looking at this going, because there's these things called sunset clauses, and once it passes the sunset clause, you can rescind contracts. So imagine if you bought a unit for $1 million and literally now it's worth $2 million. In some cases, the developer has come back and said, listen, I'm rescinding your contract, and the new price is 1.8 million if you want it. If not, we're going to go to market. Because there's two things. There's an ethics point to that, but then there's also are you going to go through 3 or 4 years of your life risking that you're going to lose money to show face? It's a very difficult thing. It's basically like saying, I've got an online product, right, that I used to sell for $100, that I used to pay 50 for, and I've got all these pre-sales, and now I keep selling it at $100, but it's costing me 93. Do you keep selling it, or do you say, screw this, right? I got to charge 150 for it.
It just happened in Main Beach on a tower, and there's all sorts of rumours. And what I'll tell you now is it's allegedly, but there's a building just down from me that's done a beautiful job of the building. To be honest, it's lovely, but the developer allegedly slowed down the building to enact the sunset clause so that he could rescind the contracts. So all these people bought them off the plan, and it's a high-end building. Like, I think they started it at the time 5 million, they're now 7 for the same apartment. That's the entry level. And the penthouse got bought by a billionaire from Melbourne, I won't say who, but a very, very well-known Australian billionaire. And apparently the developer slowed the development down, then rescinded the contracts and said, you like the apartment? How much more do you want to pay to get it off me? Now, the problem with it is, you know, I personally, from a morals point of view, I think it's terrible to do, because these people, in many cases, have sold their homes, they've bought furniture, and they're sort of in that limbo waiting for the property to be ready to move in. So imagine you've sold your principal place of residence, your Airbnb, you've got all your furniture organised, and then the developer says, and I know this has happened because I know somebody in that building who actually went ahead and paid $1.5 million more than what they signed for, because it was just like, well, what are you going to do, right? But yeah, so but basically, the big thing I don't like about that, and I'm just sitting here as a guy who's not at that level, so I don't know. It's easy to be on the outside, but you know, he's basically used his customers' money to secure the funding that he needed for the project, and then fucked them.
Correct. And also, not only that, when you're talking about those properties that are that mid to or more so upper level, you're not generally dealing with someone who's got 4 years to waste either. That's their forever home. That's the last, the last nest, so to speak. And now they're fucking starting from scratch again.
Such a bad taste in
It's,
their mouth.
it's
horrible.
happening in the house and land space, left, right, and center. Except what's happening is the builders are just going broke.
Yeah.
So then
I had that.
you got a house that's half finished, right? And it's literally different story if it's a person buying a $9 million penthouse. If you're purchasing a $9 million penthouse, you've got some cash, right? When you're dealing with a family that's buying their first property, right, and it's a house and land package for $700,000, $800,000, and they got their life savings in this, right?
And they think they've made some capital
Yeah,
growth.
and they think they made some capital growth, only for the builder to go, I'm not making any money here, the builder developer, I'm not making any money here on these house and land packages as an example. I'm just going to go bankrupt because I can't finish it. And then all of a sudden you've got a half-built house that you're paying
That's difficult.
You're
like,
paying
for
a
both
mortgage.
sides.
You're
Yeah.
paying a mortgage on.
Isn't it funny? I remember back in the project marketing days when it said probably 10 years ago, and over probably 5-6 year period, is that more builders go bust in a boom than they do in any other time. It's incredible. Like you'd think, they'd be creaming it.
And there's been such unforeseen growth over the last literally
Crazy times.
doubled.
I've heard
Some
that
more than doubled.
28% of all insolvencies in the last 12 months were construction companies.
Yeah, all you got to do is open up news.com or Gold Coast Bulletin, unless you live under a rock. It's weekly.
There's a huge site here on the Gold Coast that Tim's got, from Melbourne. What's his last name?
Tim
Gurner.
Oh,
Tim Gurner, yeah. And they had pre-sales and everything, but a word has it that he couldn't get a building contract, and he's done everything right. I went and got pitched by Tim on that project himself.
Yeah.
And the project, and he's apparently worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
I heard that was someone that I know, a pretty prominent developer. He went just with a mate of his just to hear the pitch, because they said that it was one of the best pitches that they've ever heard, that they even bought a unit at the end. They each bought a unit just because he just sold it so well. And the display was just, they said the display was, I didn't go through it, but they said it was impeccable, to the point where there was Louis Vuitton and Gucci shoes and clothes hanging in the wardrobe in the display.
Mate, I went through the display. I was invited to go to that through very good friends, and Tim actually did the pitch. And he has this suite where one wall, like the whole wall, it's a life-size rebuild of the apartment. Floor to ceiling is that high definition digital. You can hardly tell it's digital. It looks real. And it says, what floor do you want to look at? And you're like, 25. Click. It changes. Floor to ceiling view of the Gold Coast.
Your exact view that
you're on
gonna
25. Yeah. It's nuts. And the detail that he went to in that walkthrough, I have never seen somebody sell anything as well as Tim Gurner sold that property. And I feel for the guy because, he did so much right. I walked out there, like you get into that reality distortion field. Like some of it was straight up bullshit. Like what I mean by that is, he's like, we're going to have, maitre d's that are going to meet you on the beach. You don't go to your apartment when you come to the Gold Coast. You go to the beach, and we'll have people meet you there, and we're going to have it set up with a picnic and champagne. You're going to meet you there, and they're going to escort you back. And I'm thinking, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And it was only till 2 hours later, I'm thinking, nobody's going to do that.
I just got pitched.
But I just totally got drawn into the vision,
The reality is now, right, in this industry, especially in Queensland, what's happening with infrastructure spend for government infrastructure spend, we're using a lot of labor to that. We're losing, a lot of labor to that. And with the Olympics coming up, we're going to lose more labor. That labor is meant to build some of these high-rise buildings that we need for the immigration and the influx of population coming to the Gold Coast specifically. Not to mention the amount of interstate migration that's happening. And this is why you see second-hand units going up in value so much, because they're done, they're finished. Whereas a lot of these other big projects, they're going to struggle to get off the ground because the build costs are so high. And it's not like we've got a suite of 10 builders that you can choose from. There's not many, right, tier one,
Stuff's going like
the
that.
high-rise builders that can actually build these buildings. You got Multiplex, you've got Hutchinson Builders, you got a few others. That's about it.
Hutchie's closed their book for resi.
Yeah, there you go.
They're done.
Right.
And they were the predominant. If you were to go back here 3 or 4 years ago, every single crane within reason was Hutchie's.
Yeah.
And they're completely shut because they've got guaranteed contracts with the Olympics up there.
So when you look at supply and demand, right, this is a perfect scenario of demand, lack of supply. What happens to prices? Prices are getting pushed up. So for us, as a business, to have a fully finished, 49 unit over 31 levels development,
starting at $2 million,
with 6 fully furnished displays that you can touch and you can feel, and You can
dream.
It's unbelievable.
But not only that, from a business perspective, it's too, with the project marketing game, usually off the plan, 50% at an unconditional or a contract, and it's 50% at the other end, which could be anywhere from 2.5 years.
Yep.
From a marketing perspective, or for Sutherland Group, I mean, you're getting paid 100% comms and settlement.
It's great for the business, yeah.
And then they're probably 30-day, 45-day settlements.
Yeah.
So it's like...
One of the taglines we're using is have it all, have it now.
Once again, Eric, the dark horse over here. You know,
No, it's just
it's relationship.
It's, Like we've been going 3.5 years, and this is
Totally.
the first project, right? We've had a fair few projects, but this is the first large project which is going to put. We're actually rebranding. We used to be called Sutherland Group Property. Now it's just Sutherland, so just a little bit more minimalistic. And this is going to be the first project that really puts Sutherland on the project marketing map, because we're going to be.
You would have had to
everywhere.
beat a lot of marketers to get that contract.
Yes, and definitely, and it's relationship and doing the right thing. My business partner, Julian, this is what he's done for the last 25, 30 years, project marketing. Nothing else. No side gigs, no this, no that. This is what he has done, and he's an absolute gentleman. He's an absolute expert. And
that's
the
real estate
relationship.
particularly, right? Like
Real estate,
I've
yeah.
got quite a few mates who are my age who've been in real estate now for 20, 30 years. And whether they're agents or whether they're builders, I've got a very good mate on the sunny coast, Anthony, who you know, and like he's making so much money now effortlessly on the sales side, and it feels more effortless on the build side now because he's just so good at what he does. And people would look at him and he's just getting contracts without any sales pitch because he's been at it consistently.
A perfect example is Paul, right? One of my best mates from Sydney, does all my finance, great guy. He's got a site in Noosa, just a duplex site.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you know anyone? I said, yes, I do. Right.
Anthony.
And I met Anthony through you, and we built a relationship. I introduced them. Anthony had a look at the plans. He says, basically, Paul, the way your architect's drawn this is going to cost you a lot more. Do you mind if I just tweak the plans a little bit and come back to you? So he's done that free of charge, building the relationship. Paul's now engaged them for the contract on the duplex.
Yeah, that's right.
And Paul's not a small player. He's going to be doing multiple things.
Totally, yep.
And there you go. There's a relationship that, all through network. And this is why network is so important,
Also, I'd like to be said for just doing one thing and doing it forever.
Yeah,
Well-
that's one thing I've never done. So I actually take my hat off to someone that's like someone like Julian going 25 years. That's all you've done. You've been focused for 25 years in that one industry, and you're an expert, right? And people look up to you. It's very hard for me because I've always done multiple things. So it's actually I have a lot of respect for people.
But you're seeing it in our coaching business because I've had young people, not young, maybe some are young, some are just new to the coaching space, and they're like, Adam, how do you and Eric, get so many clients? Like, what's your funnel? What's your marketing hooks? I'm like, forget all that shit. And they're like, what do you mean? I say, dude, we're building real businesses on camera. Like on Instagram, I'm posting my actual screenshots. I'm showing you, like when this new brand comes to life, we'll show the logos, we'll show the development. People see what Eric does. So the other day we had somebody from the pod say, hey, listen, I heard you do business coaching. How does it work? And I'm like, look, it's 20 grand a year. It's not cheap. This is what you get. Basically, read our webpage here. And here's a link to my calendar. If that money is within your capability, click here and make a time. Let's just have a chat, And the lady's like, wow, okay, cool, yeah, I'll do that. And we had the most relaxed chat for 30 minutes where we just talked. Wanted to find out her background. She's a successful doctor. She's got multiple practices, wants to transition out of that into her own business. And then we just had a chat about, and I said, hey, watch this, which is a recording of a previous one-on-one coaching I'd done with someone else. How do you feel after seeing that? She goes, I think it'd be a really good fit. I'm like, great, I think so too. These are the fees. If you're ready now, we'll accept you now. If you need some time, no problem, just let us know. Done. There's no funnel. There's no manipulative. It's just experience, time in market. Same with my friend Anthony. He rings me up. I just sold a contract for a $2 million build. There's no fancy brochure required. The person in that development said, Anthony's your guy. Don't go to any other builder. Just talk to Anthony. And that's it. There's no, all this layers of bullshit. Is just layers of results, layers of delivered value over time.
And I think it's because we're in the trenches doing things, right? We're not just sitting there pointing fingers. Like yesterday, it was all hands on deck because we're under the pump getting things ready. Like yesterday, for about 3.5 hours, I was writing content, right, for the ads. It's not really what I do, right? But there's Eric, ChatGPT, brain, bit of both, humanize it, get it up. You know,
Mostly ChatGPT.
right?
And then getting up it, I'm not sure.
So, but you got to do what you got to do, right? And this is where, before you were talking about executing, like all hands on deck, and execute on all levels, because this is what needs to be done. There is no choice. Is there other things that I need to do that are at a priority and a high level? Yes, definitely. But you got to know what you're doing at any point in time to get that result. And right now, you know, we're in the trenches of this project. For the launch on Friday. Once that launches, it's done. Then the agents go and do the work, as an example, and sell these things.
Have you had to scale up your business to accommodate?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So we've done a few key hires. One of them is a gun marketing guy, young guy. His name's Steven. Absolute weapon. Actually, that came from a Seek ad, to be honest. So that was actually a lucky grab. But what he loves is the tech side, the AI side. I've already sat him down with Chris and Sam, and like I discussed last week, we're pivoting one of the sides of the business down that road, and they speak the same language. So when I'm there and I'm just sitting in the meeting, and they're like, bang, 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 talking, I'm like, yeah, this is what I do. You know, like I connect, bring people together.
You conduct the orchestra.
And repeat. Yeah.
You don't play the instrument,
No,
you conduct.
yeah, but at times when I need to play the instrument and do the copy because it needs to get done, you get it done. Whether you like it or you don't, you get it done. And I think that's what people appreciate, is we're not just, you know, sitting here going, oh, I have this business and I have this investment. Like, we're literally doing the work. You know, I was, dealing with account stuff and dealing with accountants and, you know, being strategic. All that stuff is very, very important, you know.
Let's change gears. JD, thank you for that, Eric, and
No worries.
congrats
Thanks
on
for
that.
listening.
Congratulations.
On that
Well
get. That's a huge get.
Yeah.
You know, the Malou family are
Yeah.
very highly regarded.
Just big shout out to the team. It's been a big team effort. So
Be super keen to hear the results and over what time frame as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
If you're publicly available.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'll be looking forward
I'm
to
sure
it.
once it's all done, we'll definitely have the discussion.
Can you estimate how long it's going to take to sell the whole project?
Not really at the moment, because still testing out pricing. We don't have a proper price list as of yet. We will have that shortly, obviously, for the launch. But it depends. They're not cheap units.
Where can people look at it? Remy.
So, Remy is at 122 Surf Parade in Broad Beach. So basically, with
meant online.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, but
ChatGPT.
but what you
the
want,
internet,
right? So remyresidences.com.au, right? But if you're local, you
Yeah,
literally,
drop by.
and this is the thing, right?
Learn the
Normally
funnel,
it's
see
like,
his team.
like let me see it online. I don't want people to see it online. If you could physically go there, because you're going to touch, you're going to feel, you're going to see the pool that you're going to be. You're right. There's got hot plunges, cold plunges, saunas,
I feel like
steam
it's no
rooms,
more than 6
massage
months.
rooms. You know, so
Is that right? I feel like it's no more than 6 months.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope even
Amazing.
quicker. We'll see.
James, let's talk about you, mate. What has been going on in the wonderful world of James Denham?
Mate, since last week, just in that recruitment phase, hiring more appointment setters, hiring more salespeople, going through the training process, and loading up on more. But more focused on, we're heading up to Taiwan, I think on the 10th of May, to go and meet some of these suppliers that we've got. And
Taiwan?
yeah, and bolster the relationship a little bit more, and try to, when we acquired the company, there was an exclusivity in place across a multitude of, a couple of different lines of products, but they also had, when we say exclusivity, there were previous suppliers as well that was sort of in a zoned area, if you will, like a certain state. And so from what we've been doing, if you look at our results in the period of time that we've had the company and what these existing relationships have been doing, we're we're gunning to angle to get the Australian-wide master license for some of these product lines, which will just add a bit more value to the business and also a bit more scope so we can open up the marketing a little bit further.
Is all of your sourcing concentrated in Taiwan, or is that just one of the?
No, as much as possible. There's three major brands that we sell. One is Chinese, but it's the best of the best in China, from what we understand, and the two other major lines are Taiwanese. And so it's really interesting dealing with Taiwan. The Taiwanese culture is not like dealing with the Chinese, and I know you've dealt with a lot of Chinese from the Amazon days, as have I, as has Adam. But the Taiwanese are fairly akin to like the Japanese culture. Respect, high-end quality. So the negotiation, we've had a sort of meeting before we went up there to discuss the agenda that we were looking to discuss. And I said to my business partner, let's just go gently. We haven't met them yet, and we don't want to go upsetting the apple cart. But there's a few of the opportunities in that conversation arose where we could get pretty direct with what our intentions were. And so now we're going up there with probably less surprises for them. And they were quite open to what we were... The stage one of what I was proposing, I didn't want to let too much out of the bag until we eyeball in the very
relationship.
Yeah, you bet. So it'll be very interesting going up there. So that was a good call to have, and the call went a little bit further than we wanted. That we thought it would. But as I said, less surprises, and it gave us some more scope to go. Hang on, if they're open to that, what about this? So we're going to go up there and try and bedazzle their socks off and ask for a little bit more.
I've heard Taiwan's amazing.
Yeah,
it's like Japanese style attention to detail and
Correct.
Respect.
Because
a lot of the microprocessors come out of Taiwan, but I've heard the place is just rock star.
Yeah, so we're my business partner's wife, she's the one with the travel bug more so than my business partner. So she's put together an itinerary. We said, well, let's start at Taipei and head down all the east coast, because that's the more developed side of the island, and let's have a bit of a food fair as well. Like, he's not much of a foodie, but his wife is, so I gave her a quite little, let's go to a couple of 3 Michelin star restaurants.
Have they got those there?
Yeah, well, he said, I don't like much. I like beer. He's Scottish. I like beer. I like Scotch. And I could live on a pie, but I don't mind dumplings. So I said, well, let me just go chow and high with these 3 restaurants. I found 2. I said, put them on the agenda.
I've been to Taiwan, actually, to Taipei.
Yeah.
We had a layover there one time, and we cruised around a little bit. Very interesting. We went to that. It's called Taipei 101. It's a massive tower. You got to check that out. It was unbelievable. Just the architecture.
Yeah. So we're heading up there. I think it's on about the 10th of May to go up there, and predominantly business, but I'll, we're there. We said let's extend and have a look at a country that I probably would never be on the bucket list to go to, just to be honest, and have a look around. We're catching up with Jonesy because they've got the Horizon yachts. They get built down the southern end of.
Jonesy is one of our poker mates for people who are watching, and he sells Horizon super yachts.
Large super yachts. So he's got. They
come out of Taiwan.
The southern end of Taiwan, and he's been there for years, so he's got some local intel that I'd be keen to gather.
You going to be swiping right in Taipei?
I think I'll just be keeping my shit to myself. It's another whole. It's a completely different culture. I think I'll just be playing a pretty straight bat, Eric. Yeah,
mate. When I was single, I actually was swiping right in Singapore, and oh my god, I was telling a story the other night, and I hadn't dated on these apps, and I ended up at this restaurant in Marina Bay Sands because I'm like an old school gentleman, right? So I just started dating again after a 10-year relationship, and I end up at this restaurant with this girl. I booked like a full dinner, right? And I turn up, and this girl was an analyst for like UBS or something. Like, honestly, the most boring female I've ever met in my life, and I could not get anything out of this girl. Like, she just sat there like this the whole time. And I was like, oh my God. And I told my mates the next day, and they're like, dude, like, dinner is not on the table for a Tinder date. And I'm like, really? Like, they're like, dude, just drinks.
Yeah.
So
what do you say? Vision standards recruitment.
I know.
You fucked that up, didn't you?
I had a vision and some standards. I just recruited the wrong one.
Yeah, no, you want to keep your wallet to yourself until you worked out whether it's going to go too far further.
Well, it wasn't the wallet. It was just the time, dude. Like, I'm just sitting there. In the end, I want to stick a fork in my eye. It would have been more entertaining. But then I finally thought, I'll ask her about the stock market. And she lit up like a Christmas tree. And I was like, yeah, there's no future here.
Wow.
But it was funny. So what else has been going on the week before we wind this up? One thing I was going to mention, I just booked a tour to Tuscany, which is going to be fun. Yeah, just to change gears with Cass. So we've been wanting to do something special, and we've joining this tour of 20 people in April next year. You'd love it. It's a foodie tour. We're starting in Florence. We're spending a week on this sort of e-biking through the vineyards and the whole thing, it's really good to have things on the calendar to look forward to when you're in the thick of building businesses. And it wasn't cheap, but it's going to be so much fun. And we're getting there's 20 of us in the tour, and they're an American couple who've moved from the United States, given up business, and they now do private tours from Tuscany, where they live in Florence. And they're taking us to the Duomo, which is the big church. Duomo is just a term for the oldest church building in each city, but it's lines out the door if you want to go there normally. But they've got private access at watching the sunrise off the top of the Duomo. They're going to open up. I mean, this thing fits 30,000 people in it. There'll be 20 of us in there on our own, and then going onto the roof to watch the sunrise. So really, really looking forward to that.
We were there last summer.
It's incredible.
Yeah, all of Italy, and Tuscany was one of my favorite.
Yeah.
I think Florence is. I was with you for that trip.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me. So how funny. So my wife and I were posting quite a bit while we were there, right? A bit, right? and Wayne, I get back and Wayne rings me. He goes, "I just want to say thank you so much for the trip." Because I felt like I was there with you. You were posting that much. But he caught me off guard the way he said it. He's like, "Hey, thank you for the trip. I really appreciate it. You're very generous." And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" and then I got it. I'm like, very clever.
We did a tour. A friend of mine was in the grog business over here and managed to get a hookup in one of the oldest Chianti wineries in the Tuscan region. And we got a private tour of all the winery and whatnot. Then a sit down three-course degustation with the boar that's been on the land and the genetics of that boar had been there for 1,000 years and the 1,000-year-old vines, and it was fucking knockout.
It's incredible.
And needless to say, it was a bit of a none of us remember getting home, but it was good because when you're there in the winery, they try this, try that, and you walk out. Yeah. Next minute, you got like 3 cases of wine and olive oil and balsamic vinegar. And
we're going to Modena to the cheese factory. And crack open one of those big wheels, and
that Duomo is unbelievable how they built these structures back then. I have no idea.
If you haven't been to Florence or
specifically
one of my favourite things when I was in Florence, because I like vintage watches, like older stuff, and there's this tiny little shop called Luxo Time Firenze.
You can
look it up on Instagram, right? And seriously, this dude's shop would be 2 meters by 2 meters
on the bridge.
This little alley kind of set up, and it's just like the window holds everything he has, but he has like watches from the 20s and the 30s and the stories and everything. And I went in there and he said, "Mate, follow me on Instagram if you like watches." This guy does a huge trade on Instagram globally, and I've followed him since. And like every watch he produces, he takes photos at the back in this little cubicle. But when you see his account, you're like, you would never know that it's like a 2 by 2 meter store in the heart of Florence. And I've been watching for a 1974 watch for this year I was born. Something special from that time. The problem is the 70s were pretty daggy for watches. It's better like the 50s and 60s.
As in humans as well.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But no, you got to do these things. So follow that guy actually if you want to see it. But I just can't wait to get back to Europe and spend some time there.
I discovered something which everyone's got access to. And I've had access to it for years, but I never knew about this.
I'd like to start with the end in mind and work back with this conversation.
On your phone, you've got the Notes app, the yellow Notes app. Did you realise that's a collaborative thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you create a note, do whatever you want to do with the note, write that, go to share that with someone, and they then can collaborate with you on that note. So you can both write on it and share it.
Yeah, it's good for it's like sharing.
Great little tool.
Yeah,
like a Google Doc, but
like a Google Doc, but just on your phone. Yeah, so much more accessible than a Google Doc because this is right there. It's really cool.
Last thing we'll close with on this pod today is we're going to Brisbane next week on Wednesday. And we have our first meeting with the Brisbane Convention Exhibition Centre. We've now signed the contract for the first ever Unemployable Live Summit, which is on October 19th and 20th. There are only 300 tickets going to be available for this event, and it's going to be rockstar. Some of the people that we've got coming as speakers are going to be remarkable. and we've got what I think for the size of the event, the coolest room. Like the room that we've got has the whole roof is lights, not very lights, but panels that you can make LED. So, and I waited to, an extra week, move the whole event a week just to get us in this one particular room, because we want to make this immersive, incredible 2-day experience happen. Eric and I and the team are going up on Wednesday. We're going to take some video.
Can I just, may not be public yet, when-ish would the release dates for those tickets be coming out, just to build?
I think within the next 4 weeks is the target when I get back from the Bali trip.
Yep.
So that's about.
Keep an eye out.
Keep an eye out. 4 weeks from now, they will go quickly. We will let people know. If you go to our website, if you're interested in this, go to our website, unemployable.com.au. Somewhere on there will be a subscribe button just to be on our newsletter. Add yourself to that list so that we can email you first and let you know, because these pods come out a few days later. So get on the email list and we'll release it to the email list first. We're also about to launch our socials. We've got 1,000 followers or something on Instagram, but we haven't done any posting. So we're about to start our socials up as well, which is going to be super cool. And we'll start posting regularly on that. So Unemployable Media on Instagram. So go follow us there as well, which will be the other sort of real-time connection to us. And that's about it. But we're really excited about the summit. Eric, how are you feeling about it? You pumped?
Yeah, I'm pumped, honestly. I can't wait to go look at it next Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think, people want more of these types of events, but we're, as we did with, obviously, the podcast, we're definitely going all in and getting a great room and great speakers and some cool sponsors already that you've been talking to, which is amazing. So, again, like I said before, anyone that wants to invest in themselves, they need to be in that room. There's going to be
I posted on
amazing energy.
Instagram just a couple of days ago a photo of Sam Hope 2016 and Sam Hope 2024.
Unreal.
And that was a photo taken at one of our live events. And so it's 8 years apart, those photos. He was a 16-year-old kid that wagged school to come to the event. And today he's the co-founder of Early Bird and we're his investors. So it doesn't happen instantly, but those connections over time can develop into really valuable things. So be there in the room. It's going to be absolutely awesome. And Vanessa, who's my event manager from Reliable Education, she used to run all our events. She was a full-time employee. She's just coming back now as a contractor for us to run this event, which is really good. Gives me a lot of confidence because she's got all the skills. She knows all the people. It's going to have all the bells and whistles. It's going to be a lot of fun. It won't be quite as big as the last ones, but it's going to be awesome for you as well. I mean, Wayne used to be on stage with us. James was at every event. He's been on for awards. What I'm most excited about is the opportunity that when you register, we're going to ask you to identify on a few metrics so that when you check in, we're going to put some stuff on your lanyard that identifies you as a, where you are in business, investor, whatever else. James, I know what you're going to say. You're just itching. I can just feel this tension between these two, just waiting to have a crack at each other. And,
Not sure what James identifies himself with, but it'll be interesting to see what's on his lanyard, I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's right.
Custom lanyard.
Custom lanyard.
You got it.
No, it's going to be fun. Honestly, I'm so looking forward to it. We've been talking about it for a little while.
Yeah.
And, the time is right. And, we pulled the trigger and talk about execution. There was a little bit of thought around it, but executed quite quickly. So now, obviously, the work begins.
300 people.
Yeah.
That is going to...
It's going to be intimate.
That is... Well, yeah,
It's going to sell out in a half.
Yeah.
I hope so. Look, I'm these days I'm always a bit, reserved with these things. I hope 300 is going to sell out quickly. What I will say, guys, is that if you do want to come, please do buy a ticket quickly because it is a big financial commitment. We lose money on the podcast. We don't make money doing this. We pay rent in this building. We've spent $250,000 on the fit out here. It's a long-term play for us. So vote with your wallet. If you want access to high-quality, great business events, buy a ticket. That helps us know, yes, if you guys go out and put your name on a 6-figure contract for an event like that, we will support you by buying a ticket. And that's as simple as it is. Talking of sport, the other thing that you can do, guys, if you can find it in your heart, if you're finding the content valuable, click below the video, subscribe, drop a comment. We really appreciate the comments. Let us know how we're doing. And most importantly, tell your friends about the pod. Let them know, hey, these guys do this pod. It's cool. I enjoy it. You might enjoy it too. Help us grow, because the bigger the guests, the bigger the subscription, the followers, the more we can get on here. We've got some incredible guests. We've got a guy coming on next week who's, $500 million guy. We've got some incredible people coming down the line now as a result of you guys doing what I'm asking you to do here. So guys, thank you very much. Until next Friday, have a great week out there. Keep working, keep going, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that episode of Unemployable. If you'd like to watch another episode, just click there.